All right, everybody. Good afternoon to all of you. While people still joining, let's go ahead since we are 5 minutes into our scheduled time. I would like to welcome our guest speaker today, Ms. Priyanka Balasubramanian, joining from Chennai. Right now, you are in Chennai, right? I guess.
Right now,
Okay. Yes, let me introduce her very briefly. This talk is about her story, so you are going to hear about her for the next hour or so. But let me formally introduce her very briefly. So, Ms. Priyanka Balasubramanian is the founder and CEO of Maximum Creative and Hoop VFX. With nearly 2 decades of experience across production, visual effects, and emerging technologies, Priyanka has built a remarkable career at the intersection of creativity, technology, and business leadership. Her credits include globally recognized productions such as Harry Potter, The Guardians of the Galaxy, Great Gatsby, Kingsman, Alien Covenant, Fast X, Shōgun, and Megalopolis. So, as the founder of Maximum Creative, an AI production studio, and Hoop VFX, UK-headquartered visual effects studio, she pioneers modern production workflows that integrate artificial intelligence, traditional filmmaking, and world-class visual effects. So, yeah, so excited to have you here, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation to talk to our students and bring the inspiration for them to do their own thing. Um, Ms. Priyanka, it's over to you to continue. You can share your screen as well. And then,
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Asanka. It's really an honor to be presenting my journey to students at the University of Colombo and what you're trying to achieve at the incubator cell at the university is incredible. I mean, I wish I had something like this when I was starting up in my early days. So it's incredible that you're giving the opportunity for students across all spectrum to experience various topics that are relevant in their career path and for them to sort of choose what they feel is their calling. So I mean, it's incredible. I wish I was a student at this point in time. But thank you so much for the opportunity and for the honor to serve young minds, which has always been something really, really dear to my heart, is to connect with young people and also older people. It's not that I don't want to connect with older people, but also young people have very, very innovative ideas, and their thought process is always evolving because they don't have any baggage of the past. So it's incredible to be a part of this. I want to keep today's conversation as two-sided as possible. So feel free, all of you on this call, to just unmute yourself, have a little chat if you want. If you have a question or two about what I'm presenting, please just feel free to interrupt and just ask a question. I mean, I'm a really friendly person, so I won't be intimidated by your questions. And I'll try to answer all of your questions as we go along. Before I start, I just wanted to talk a little bit about visual effects. I come from the industry of visual effects, which is a very, very large industry. I don't know how many of you watch films, but VFX is right now like the talk of the town. Everybody either bashes us for doing really horrible work or praises us for doing really great work. So it can always swing both ways. We are a very, very large industry, especially in India. The potential is about $2 to $3 billion as an industry, and growing because of incentives and policies around AVGC sector that are actively being presented by our governments. And I'm sure Sri Lanka will also see that as a potential to grow that sector in either now or in the coming future. Having said that, I just want to quickly show you guys what we do at Hoop VFX. So what visual effects really means. So visual representation of some of the work that we've done for our film clients, film and TV clients, and OTT streamers, as we would call it. I don't know if you guys can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Yeah, I think you can.
yes, we can see. Yes.
Okay, so I'll just play this for So yes, that was the glimpse of the work that we've done. Are you able to hear me now? You guys able to
Yes,
hear
we
me?
can.
Okay, perfect.
We
Okay,
can.
so I just wanted to show this as an example of what visual effects really means. I mean, you see a variety of work there, the CG creatures, the environment work, the CG environment creations, and then small cleanups and things that you don't even notice that our visual effects are sometimes, not shot on plate. And this is a very big industry that exists worldwide, and I'm so proud to be a part of it. Honestly, I don't think I would have done it any other way. I'm so glad that I chose this path from my starting point at university where I studied film. And then, film obviously has many different facets to it, where I chose the post-production aspect of it. So I'm really happy to present to you my journey, my company's journey, and what it is like really to be an entrepreneur, like the good stuff and the bad stuff, what comes with it, what are the risks and what are the rewards, and what really makes me do what I do on a day-to-day basis, and how I feel everybody, I mean, as a takeaway, whether you choose to be a part of the visual effects industry or not, how you can shape your own careers around evolving landscapes with, AI coming in, disruptive technology that, usually enters without any informing anyone, and how you can navigate all that and sort of future-proof yourself. And sort of be resilient to any sort of change that comes your way. Um, so this is my story. I'm Priyanka. Hello, everyone again. Like I mentioned, I come from the visual effects industry. I started in film, and I started my own companies after years of working for other people, building my portfolio of good work. It involves a lot of what you see on my screen, right? They are projects that I have worked specifically as a visual effects producer, and also, as a part of my own companies that I have built. So it's a combination of both of those type of projects that I've gotten involved in. Apart from that, I've also been managing now two companies. One very recently started in 2025, which is Maximum Creative, which is a combination of what we do traditionally in visual effects, plus AI hybrid tools that we're using to make stuff faster, easier, sometimes, or we're trying to see if it leads to cheaper eventually. I am based in London, but right now I'm in Chennai, but I'm most often traveling between these two countries. So if anyone asking me where I'm from, I'd say I'm a global citizen. I'm a cosmopolitan. I work across both UK and India and also beyond, because of the global nature of our industry that takes me to places that I really enjoy working with people from different parts of the world. And I'm also a member of certain guilds and societies like the Visual Effects Society, Production Guild, some societies in India that I'm a part of that are specific to visual effects. So that keeps me at an intersection of being a management person who works in the creative industry as well as the technology sector. So I dabble between these three areas in my career and my professional life, and that's what I have to showcase to you as to how my journey has transpired over the years. Before I dive deep into it, I just want to give you what you can expect from this talk today. You've just heard a little bit about me and my introduction. I do also want to touch base about both my businesses, how I started them, and where that journey led. How did it start, and how I had both my companies operate. Where do they operate from, and all the nitty-gritties about it. And then the avocado effect that I want to talk about, which talks about how you can build a company around tools and software. Sometimes you overload your company with a lot of tools that become obsolete over the years because software is always coming and getting upgraded every year or couple of years, and then you don't use it, and then something else comes and takes its place, which is AI in our case. So I do want to talk about how that happened and how that shift led me to start Maximum Creative. The overall risks and rewards of running a business, all the honest and the true bits that are difficult to swallow sometimes. I would like to talk about that as well, so you will get to know the ground reality of what it is to actually start your own thing. And what it is like to really be the entrepreneur. How do you get your business? How do you make this thing that you've built, like your baby, survive? What all do you have to do to make sure that you don't lose heart and lose hope when things get tough? When you are on an entrepreneurial journey, you expect the good and the bad. I want to touch base on how you can navigate all the great things that come along with starting your own firm, as well as how to manage storms and weather storms. And last but not the least, any takeaways that you might want to take away from my own experience of having led businesses in this domain. If you are somebody who's looking for an entrepreneurial journey for yourself, please make sure you don't compare yours with anybody else's. I mean, honestly, even if they are like super smart and super successful and they all figured it out, no one has it figured out. Nobody has it figured out. Your journey is unique and your roadmap is unique. So make sure you are authentic to who you are and what you want to build. And that's what's going to make you stand apart from the rest of them. If you're just doing a business just for the heck of doing it, it's probably not going to be good for you as an individual, because you don't have a purpose to why you're doing it. So as long as you have a purpose attached to it, which you truly believe in, and you can stand by it, and even if it is your own unique way of doing things, which nobody else would go by, it would be a unique proposition that people would want to buy into. And that's my honest takeaway. Even if it is chaotic, it's your own thing, so you can own it. So quickly moving to, if you guys have any questions, please, like, again, I don't want to ramble on. So please feel free to stop me anywhere and sort of ask questions. So starting with Hoop, this is my baby number one. I started in the year 2015 after I had worked in the industry for several years. And this is a company that services predominantly to our global clientele, production companies, streamers, platforms, commercials, where we provide outsourced services. So anything that is an overflow that needs attention gets made in India and shipped back to our clients wherever they are based in the world, whether it's US, UK, Europe, or Australia. And how we work is, we have a UK-based office with teams all over India spread. When I started this company, we were close to 200 people, and because the nature of the business demanded that scale of artists. But with AI coming in, a lot of these tasks that were outsourced have become a lot more accessible for clients globally to do it on their own, which led us to also believe that we are in the same pathway of adapting to newer methodologies of doing things, and scaling down was a natural aspect of it. So rather than having 200 people doing operational work, we have 15 solid people who are doing creatively beautiful work. And that's the difference that I have seen over the 11 years of us surviving at Hoop, is the transition between what we built as something we built for scale that we will grow year on year, return on investment, and we're going to just massively grow across different cities, to now it's more like, let's keep it small and nimble and do really, really good quality work. And customers, like I said, are based all around the world. And because of my experience and expertise in the industry, our USP is I understand what it is to be a client and what it is to be a vendor. So we are able to speak both languages. So we started out as a remote workflow company, and then we had a facility in Chennai, which needed a facility in Chennai because the way film studios work is they work with partners who have trusted partner network security clearance, which is a specific audit requirement, which doesn't allow you to just get any footage of any film and work on it. You need to have that security clearance pass so that you can access that footage and work on it. So this is a very difficult and time-consuming process that we had to go through to achieve the clearance to get to work on projects for which we needed an on-premise, which is our Chennai office. And then later on, when COVID happened and then writer strike happened, rules relaxed a bit. They were like, oh, you don't need to be positioned physically somewhere where you can still be on the cloud and you can still have these protocols of having security and safety measures followed. So that was still acceptable for the TPN guys. So now it's evolved from where we used to have a 200-seater office to everybody on the cloud working from their comfort of their homes, and our artists spread across different cities in India. And that's the pathway that has led me to evolve Hoop Visual Effects. And then Maximum Creative is our AI frontier. Like I said, a lot of things have changed. You might have noticed a lot is evolving in the image generation and video generation space because of the advent of AI and tools and technology, which does not really remove some key factors such as human creativity, judgment, and artistry, but we still need to understand that clients want to see 10 different options in the case of one now in the same amount of time. They're like, well, I know you can do it in AI, so why not tease me with 10 different options and I can choose one of them. So we are having to adapt to that changing demand of the industry in general, where we're using both generative AI and visual effects, traditional visual effects craftsmanship in our work. We also provide consulting where we know that a specific project can use both AI and VFX, and we consult and make it a much more viable production option for them, considering budgetary constraints that they might have or timeline constraints, without losing the creative vision of the project. So, and because these workflows are built for scale, because once you build a specific pipeline for a use case, you can rinse and repeat across multiple different projects with precision and efficiency. This is a scalable option for us in terms of quantity of work that we can pull through our pipe now with lesser number of people involved. So the tech stack that you see here is the traditional software that we use in visual effects on the left-hand side, and the right-hand side are the new evolved ones. You will see Midway, Runway, Midjourney, Flux, Kling. You might have heard some of these. If not, like these are now image and video generation models that are available. Some of them are open source, some of them are closed weights. So we use on a case-by-case basis as to what our clients are okay for us to use, using a mixture of these two. The reason why I founded Maximum Creative was literally, I felt like if anybody was going to put my old company Hoop out of business, it has to be me. And it was literally the company eating its own self. So it was either an evolve or perish moment for us, which is why I started Maximum Creative, and we have creative technologists working for us who are at an intersection of, say, both of these tool stacks on the left and the right. A quick overview of my own career and my pathway into becoming the founder of both businesses. Campus is where it all starts for everybody. I did my master's in film and TV at the University of East London, and I graduated in 2006, if I'm not wrong. And this is where group work, working together in a film set. How do you work as a team? How do you pass on responsibility from one to another? Uh, and I accidentally discovered that I was really great at being organized and organizing things. And I really didn't know you could make a career out of being organized. And I thought, oh, and that's what producers do. Producers are just great organizers. They just get stuff done. And I didn't realize that was a career option then. And then somebody said, oh, you're really organized. You should try this. And I was like, really? So I took a role in production in visual effects. That was my first job, being actually a runner where I was serving tea and coffee to managing directors across different disciplines and departments and companies. I was delivering tapes from one company to another. I used to deliver newspapers. I've done literally everything from the ground up, and I really enjoyed that process, to be honest, because it gave me the freedom to figure out what I wanted to do. I was not the kind of person who knew exactly what she wanted to do in life. I just wanted to know what I was going to be really good at. And I wanted a taste of everything. So being a runner helped me figure out that this is sort of the domain that I really, really enjoy doing, which is production. Being organized, having communication with people, with clients, with team members. So I broke into visual effects production, worked across several different visual effects studios around the world, including India and London, in Soho. Several companies I worked for, and I had a lot of credits that on films that I badged because of my involvement in various shows, both from the vendor and the client side. And this gave me, the freedom to explore professionally what I would call as where I would want to be called as a subject matter expert. And I really wanted to get to that level in my life before starting my own company. And being the master of your own game is really important in my experience, for people to take you seriously, especially in an industry which is very technical, which is again very evolving and changing, with technology changing every year. The hardware changes, software changes. People move around from one company to another. So being a subject matter expert makes sure that you are an equal on the table with a client that wants to work with you. And people often work with people who they trust, and trust comes from being an expert at something. So the initial process always has been for me is to master whatever I'm trying to build. It's the same with Maximum Creative as well. Now that I've started something new in the AI frontier, I am hands-on. I am sitting and learning new tools myself every day, figuring them out. It's the only way that you will be able to pitch to a client an idea or try to troubleshoot it, is only if you know the workings of it yourself. So being a subject matter expert is the key foundation to starting my own companies, which is Hoop and Maximum Creative, which is again now 15 team members. And my pattern was this: literally network within your team members in university, or whether it is within your office colleagues or office environment, your industry people. So the network is your wealth. And then when you have mastery over what you're set to do in your industry, you are a subject matter expert. And then you get into entrepreneurship, and then you realize that, oh, you don't really know everything. That's when the grounding happens, where something new comes in and you're like, oh, I have to unlearn everything and relearn something completely different. And I've got to change and reinvent my own career path. And this is my entrepreneurial journey. And I'm sure a lot of people have very similar pathways. Apart from the fact that the first few might just be jumbled, you might want to just start something and then become a master at it. So entrepreneurship may come before you master something. But eventually you can never stop reinventing yourself, because that's a non-negotiable aspect that comes with owning a company which is ever changing. Our current roadmap, as I would call it, is to deliver flawless visual effects. That's the only way people recognize good work is if they've seen your good work, and they're gonna be like, oh, she's only as good as the last project. So you make sure your last project is really, really good. And we are trying to blend AI into our pipelines, and have the human QC level on top. And then we're trying to deepen our global relationship with different production houses and India, with the fact that India is a service economy. We have, oops, I have somebody at my door. Would you give me 2 seconds, please? I apologize.
Yeah.
I apologize. You were able to see my screen again?
Yeah, we can see your screen. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, I was it here. Yeah. So right now we are developing, a blended hybrid workflow using AI and visual effects, and then we're going to be potentially using our new workflows to train artists to become creative technologists from general 2D and 3D generalists that we used to have. So creating new roles. I mean, this in itself is quite a exciting journey for me, because we're figuring out what those roles would be and what they would consist of, and what kind of people we'll have to hire, what kind of skill sets do they need to possess, because nobody, I mean, AI has been only around for a few years now. So to find the right kind of people and train them and invest in them, this is a part of the process which helps us be future proof. And our ultimate ambition is to actually set the standards for AI in filmmaking process, where we can be a part of the important conversations where they're like, okay, how do we responsibly integrate AI into filmmaking without us using other people's works or steal from other stolen material, and be the bridge between Southeast Asia and the rest of the world in cutting edge creative work. I mean, this is our roadmap as far as my journey for both companies is concerned. When AI came in, we were like, obviously this changes everything. We were a little bit surprised. We didn't realize, honestly, as people from the image generation or the video and visual effects space, that AI will actually be able to create images and videos. We were always thinking that there were going to be robots cleaning our houses, doing, our laundry, and they would never take our we're the creatives, like our jobs are going to be very safe. But when AI came and sort of bolted all of us out of thin air, it sort of shook us all, because saying, oh my God, it can write a script, it can do a storyboard, it can actually break it down, it can do what all. Like, we were quite amazed that this changes the whole narrative as to why do we stand in all of this. If people are never going to hold a camera again and shoot a film, where does that put us all on the map? And this was a existential question that we kept asking ourselves. And then while we were asking those questions, we decided to, use AI and see what it can actually do and what it can't do. And we did realize that the speed and cost of, making images or videos was much, much lesser, which meant that we could do more iterations rather than few, with the same kind of people that we had. There were no entry barriers, which means that the gatekeepers, who were keeping stuff away, you don't need them. You can make your own content. Fewer operators. We don't need, hundreds of staff. We can deal with like much lesser number of people. And every conversation with a client was always, why can't you use AI to make this faster? Why do you have to use it traditionally? And we have to understand at some point that we are in a service industry, and the clients are dictating what needs to happen at the ground level. And what AI can't obviously replace are the the human creative aspects of it, which is the taste of knowing which out of the 200 generations that you've made is actually worth picking and putting it on in front of an audience. And accountability, if something goes wrong, like who's going to be accountable? AI is not going to take accountability of any mishaps or missing of a deadline or a mistake in the frame. You still need people to fix that. uh, Trust and relationship is an integral part of the film industry. That's how you get business. People trust you and they give you the work. They're not going to trust a machine and give them the work. So how do you build that using AI? And storytelling generally, the human emotions and um, can't be replaced by tools. You need to have an intention in place to create some of these frames that you're creating to tell stories, however pretty they might look. So overall judgment was pretty priceless. So we were pretty safe if we had good people with good judgment and a good sense of eye and detail. So which is what we transitioned to, rather than have an operator model that we were originally using in visual effects, where people knew tools to operate. They would do that for X number of years, and then they would progress in their career. Whereas AI demanded a more generalistic perspective on how this industry worked. As an entrepreneur, radar is your moat. Radar is something that will help you through your thick and thin. I mean, this is whether you're in visual effects or any other service industry, these are the go-to places that you must guard and sincerely look at while you're building your business, which is your industry events, FMX, SIGGRAPH, CAN, local meetups, and then the corridor conversations. These are places where you can really connect with people, whether they are your industry peers, they are potential employees, their potential clients, or even just your competitors. You get to know so much about your industry just through networking. So don't be in your shell. Go out there and talk. And be a part of industry events as much as possible. And if you're starting something new in a space that you don't understand, test them yourself, like be hands-on, because you need to at least, this is what I say to everybody, is at least you need to be dangerous enough to question your team members' work. Like you should be able to ask questions as to why is something done a certain specific way and not in another way, which makes it more efficient, perhaps. So not you might need to be you might want to be able to ask those questions and hence test those tools yourself first. And read everything that's out there on the internet about your industry. For us, it's trade press, effects guide before and afters. We do a lot of research on our competitors, show you what they've done, what they've delivered, how many shots have they worked on, who are they working with currently, what shows are running in their pipe. So competitor analysis is quite key. And sometimes about your competitors from your clients themselves. So you can ask them, and if you are willing to listen, you will have those answers as to what are the other people doing. Sometimes you really don't need to do any guesswork. It's all just, can you tell me what is it that you're looking for? What are the other people doing that we aren't doing? And there's always scope for improvement when you're in your own company, because it's yours, you're building it. You can change the pathway however you want. And remember, this radar is not optional. This is something that you have to do if you're an entrepreneur. This is not, oh, well, I've hired the best team to do this, but they will figure it out. No, you still need to know at least the basics of what you're trying to sell for your clients to take you seriously. Challenges, obviously, we've shown you some of the work that we've done, but what it obviously doesn't show you is all of the challenges that you face in a creative industry. We often face months where we have 10 different shows running on the floor at any given point, and then the next month is super dry, like there's no work at all. And so cash discipline is super key. You need to know how many months of work you have ahead of time, and how many months can you go dry without work, which means that your decision making has to be really, really smart, and you need to be on top of the game of figuring out how much cash flow do you have to survive. Usually in the service industry, in creative industries, your margins are really thin. They're not as high as in a product industry, which means you also deal with longer payment cycles. But we have obviously outgoings of employees, and some clients pay on time. Some clients will take their own sweet time to pay. Sometimes you don't even get payment, and you just have to chase those kind of clients too. So include numbers in your daily prayers, I'd say. Make sure you're, politely chasing after payments, and being really religious in terms of your financial practice is so essential as being an entrepreneur, that you can get overwhelmed by, oh my God, everybody wants to work with me now. I'm getting so much business, but the minute you forget to invoice them or chase them for payments, they will people will eventually take you for granted that you don't have a good financial practice. So keep your financial discipline intact. And people are your biggest asset at the end of the day in services, especially in visual effects. They go home to a family every night, and it's your responsibility and your HR's responsibility to make sure that they return back to the office the next day. So retention is a very, very key part of your business model. And that can sometimes be a very big challenge, because people tend to go where there's more work and more pay. And how do you keep that motivated? That's the challenge that you have to figure out for yourself, what works for you and what works for your team, and what keeps them motivated. Because we work around the clock across different time zones and different clients across the world, our challenges are that we don't get enough sleep. The person is usually me, because I'm working around the clock and making sure our deliveries are met. And this disruption in terms of new tech, like I told you, software and hardware upgrades every year. You need to keep a tab on your purchases as well, in terms of the assets that you will have to buy for running your firm, and then be aware of the different ways in which you can navigate those changes in your technological disruption and upgradation. We used to be working in film at some point in our lives, and now we're all digital. And on premise used to be the most sought after, that everybody wants to go to office and work, and now everybody wants to work from home on the cloud. So these are things that are going to be relevant to across every sector of business, whether you are in the creative industry or not. And it's how you learn to dance to it and dance with it. All these will affect the way you look at these challenges and take it head on and solve your problems. This is the reality. I mean, this is the film industry in all its glitz and glory. As Paramjeet here would actually, which is where I met him 2 years ago. This is a beautiful city of Cannes. Oops, sorry, Cannes. This is the Cannes Film Festival. As you can see, this is the promenade and the palais where all of the screenings happen. The red carpet, as you can see on the right bottom corner, and these lovely pavilions for each country has its own pavilion where they host producers and screenwriters, and important deals get made and signed on this very city of Cannes. And the film festival can be very, very intimidating, because there are like thousands of people. And this is just one event. There are many, many events that happen in the film industry. It's very, very intimidating if you don't know who you're meeting, what you're doing there. But the best thing you can do for yourself is to go figure it out. I mean, what could go wrong, right? You just go there, you will naturally figure it out, meet some great people, meet some not so great ones, and you will eventually figure out how to navigate an industry like this, which is built solely on relationships. But visual effects as an industry globally is about 10 to 15 billion dollars large, and it's growing at an approximately 10% a year. And as you can obviously see from what you see online, is 8 to 10 of those films that get made are very heavily reliant on visual effects. And 70% of the major streaming originals, which includes Netflix and Amazon originals, carry visual effects. But in India itself, we are about $3 to $4 billion as a business in itself, because of the nature of the studios that we have, the infrastructure, the government sponsored, obviously, policies and incentives that makes it much more attractive for work to get done in India. And I'm sure Sri Lanka, like I said, let's start at the beginning, would be a great place for people to explore expanding on that service line and industry. So some of these are film festivals and industry-specific events that we tend to attend, where we make ourselves absolutely relevant, try to understand what's going on, and where the industry is headed, important conversations that and decisions that get made. You get to be there to witness it firsthand, so that you can be a part of that decision-making process and filter it downstream into your own company.
Can I chip in
Yes,
there?
yes, please.
Hi, Priyanka. I actually just chipped in because I thought you've been talking so long, you might need a bit of a rest and a drink of water. So,
Water would be fantastic.
yeah. And since you're on the subject of Cannes, I live here and it's where we met and everything, for those of you on the call who don't know me. Um, I did a little bit of research and funnily enough, because as Priyanka mentioned, there's a lot of pavilions, the countries, the production companies from all over the world. It's the largest film festival in the world. And, but there's nobody, no company, and no representation at the national level from Sri Lanka. I checked the prospectus and the brochure and everything because I've been attending the Cannes Film Festival for the last 20 years or so. And so that was one interesting thing. And you know what, Priyanka?
Mm-hmm.
There was the first film production which was presented at Cannes Film Festival this year. The very first one. Yeah,
The Sri
Sumati.
Lankan one. Sri Lankan one.
Yeah, yeah, it's a complete 100% Sri Lankan production. Sumati Studios.
Mm-hmm.
The film is called Rihanna, and it's
Oh,
about a human rights drama with a British actor called Jeremy Irons, who's like really, really high A-listed classic actor.
yeah. Has anyone on this call seen this film?
Rihanna.
Rihanna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have?
obviously not me. No,
Okay.
no, not me. No, no, not me.
This is great. Like,
But let's see. Raise your hand if there's anyone who has watched this movie, Sri
I've
Lankan
heard of
movie.
it.
Rihanna?
no, no one has.
No.
Well, maybe yeah, if it is somewhere on the internet, we would definitely go and watch it tonight if you have some time.
Yeah.
But this is like, like you said, it's a fantastic place to get together, to get to know everybody in the industry. Every sector has its own can type of uh, event, right? And that's what I'm trying to get at is you will be thrown into a very intimidating bunch of people where you just have to swim and figure your way out. So don't be shy. Put yourself out there. If you don't try, you never know. That's my mantra. What could go wrong? If you don't have the risk of if you don't risk or the fear of losing something, then you've got nothing to lose. Basically, if you have nothing to lose, just go ahead and do it any which ways. You've got, what could go wrong? You would just be meeting a bunch of people who would turn out to be some really great connections for life. And that's how I met Paramjeet, is through Cannes, and I'm here talking at this particular forum because of me going to Cannes Film Festival, even if it was my first time, and even though it was quite incredible and overwhelming. But yeah, it's an interesting aspect that nobody should miss if you ever get an opportunity to go there. And I know that this Cannes Film Festival is not the only thing that they have there. They do a lot more, like MIPCOM and many other events that get that happen there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But Priyanka, it's worth mentioning it's not the only film festival. There's Berlin, Sundance, the Goa Film Festival. They're all over the world. So
yeah, I wasn't able to put them all here, but I just put whatever I could, which were relevant to visual effects. Yeah, like you can see SIGGRAPH happens once a year in different parts of the world. FMX again happens in Germany. Berlinale happens in Berlin. It's a European film market, and obviously Cannes. Yeah, it's amazing to see all these different films get made and distributed through these festivals. And so why do I do it? Despite the fact that I work really hard, it's sometimes very drowning that I end up working till 2 a.m. every day. It's pretty much the passion for seeing your name on the credits roll. I mean, a lot of people work in the film industry just for this very aspect that it gives you instant gratification. No other industry actually puts your name on a credit roll for doing a job that you get paid for, apart from the film industry. And I'm super grateful to be a part of it. Honestly, it cannot be explained in words as to how you feel when you see your name out there. But a lot of people are working in this industry for seeing this gratification of knowing that your work is being valued and being seen by many, many people around the world. I also do it because I love mentoring people and seeing them grow from juniors to seniors, from there on to starting even their own businesses. I'm really happy to see the career trajectories that I've been able to shape. And the fact that you run your own company means that you have complete control over and freedom over the way in which you want to take the business forward. You make the rules, you break the rules, you fall down, you learn, you pick yourself up. There's nobody else that you can bank on. It's just you and your own efforts and hard work. I'm super grateful to have an entire world full of clients, friends, and family that I have built over the last few years, that I work with in my line of work, and I love what I do because I get to meet them every year at all of these events and take my business to the next level. Being a part of a challenging business which is built on changing technological landscape means that you also get to be at the front row of these changes, that you get to work with tools and technology that nobody else would. So, for example, we got called by ByteDance, C-Dance to test their models before anybody else got to work with them. So it's that sort of ability to do your own thing that really inspires me. And eventually we're making the impossible possible. Somebody imagines something incredible, and we're able to put that into vision, and that is super gratifying. And when we talk about entrepreneurship, the sales comes as a very integral part of finding new business. And sometimes you work with people who you worked with in the past, but you also need to make sure your sales funnel is also attracting people who have never worked with you, and your work is speaking for itself. So you can attract clients who would be like, oh, I've heard so much about you and I've seen your work and I want to work with you. So a successful delivery always leads to more business. One flawless show, and that's going to help, you put yourself on the map and attract clients who would say, hey, I heard that you guys did a great job. Whereas if you don't deliver well, they would always remember that, and you will only be as good as your last show. So work travels by word of mouth. Like I said, if somebody says that these people are great, and then they move from Amazon to Netflix or to any other studio, they would carry your contact list along with it. So it's always word of mouth saying, hey, I worked with these guys while I was at Amazon. Now I want to test these guys out. Would you like to work with them? And then he or she might introduce you to several different other people in that region. And hence you get to work with many people, and new people get introduced by word of mouth. Like I said, go to industry events, knock on doors multiple times, be shameless about it, I would say. Develop a very thick skin if you want to do business sales and marketing. And I always, this is an integral part of what I believe really generates authentic human connections is by giving more than, asking for favors. Always give before, somebody asks you for it. Like, make introductions freely, show them leads, show them how it's done, help mentor people. It's so networking is like farming. So if you plant now, you can actually harvest on what you have planted after even many decades. And it really doesn't matter that you have to see the output of what efforts you're putting into relationships immediately. Some of the work that we had done with clients was like, we built relationships for 5-6 years, 10 years even, and then one day they would be like, I have something for you, and that would be a groundbreaking project. And you would be happy that you did not let go of that relationship when you knew that you were not getting anything for 10 years. And that's the beauty of human connection, as you give without expecting anything in return. And when you receive it, you would be so grateful for the fact that you received it. So yeah, many of my CRM relations, like CRM contacts, relationships are very older than even both my companies. These are people that I have built relationships over many years of me working in the industry. Last but not the least, this is an integral part of being an entrepreneur, is how seamless your work looks on screen. Has nothing to do with how much juggling you'll have to do behind the scenes with your family, your little ones, your peace, your stress levels, your sleep, and your joy and health. All of these equally matter as much as the deadlines and the deliverables do. So do never compensate one for the other. I think you would have to guard some of these, and non-negotiable for me, it's family dinners and school events and friends and social events. Whatever keeps you going, whatever helps you get yourself back, do that. Never say that, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, I've got to give like 120% to my company and slog without sleep or rest. If certain things in life make you feel human, never compromise on that. Family, for me, at the end of the day, are the real taskmasters. They approve every risky decision that I've made. They have fund my morale. They uplift my spirits, or or the other way around as well. And then they often give me very frank reviews, and it's the same with every person. Your family is eventually your truest review person that you can go to. And make sure that you take care of yourself, your health, your sleep, your fitness, whatever keeps you going. And it's not an indulgence to do all of this. This is very, very important for your survival. And once you take care of all of this, you'll be mentally free to focus on what you're building. And not all weeks are the same. Some weeks you are just juggling too many things at work, and the next you're not. And it's okay. It's okay to have certain weeks that break you, and just show up anyway and just keep doing consistently the work that you're meant to do. So self-care is super, super important. Working in a services industry means you're working with people who are different. Not every human being is the same, which means I tend to hire for attitude, not for how good they are at their work. But if somebody is showing that they are very, very committed, and they have really good ability to be a good listener and think and act in the interest of the company, those are the people that you want on your team. I mean, you can have like an amazingly brilliant person with a very bad attitude. They can come and, spoil the whole morale of your studio. Be wary of such people. And be the umbrella. Like if you have a client and who is pouring down like really hard conversations with you saying that, oh, this is not good and we expected something better, you bear all of that because the buck stops with the person at the top. So you absorb all of the panic and then pass down only what is relevant to your team. Do not try to, push them under the rain. You be the guardian for your team, and everything will fall in place. Credit your teams. People love to work with people who openly say good things about them, and it costs you nothing, but it will build loyalty forever. And standards are super important if you want to maintain a level of work, especially if you are positioning yourself as a premium service provider. It's important that you check the work yourself before putting it out there, no matter what you are selling. Creative industries, we don't follow organizational charts, which means that it's an open door policy. Everybody thinks they are equal. They're equally contributing as long as we're making pretty looking pictures and it makes the clients happy. So we don't work, egos can really flare up because everybody thinks that they are contributing equally, which means that you have to set the bar for where you want everybody to perform at what level. As they would say, in any entrepreneur, there is a risk that you will have to take, and perseverance comes along with taking that risk. I founded in 2015 the company called Hoop VFX with a lot of fear. There was very little competition at that time. There were only a few shops that were doing what we were doing. So we had a lot of work. And eventually, when COVID and Hollywood strikes and the AI evolution happened, everything changed, the rules of the game. So my rules for risk taking is only bet what you can survive losing. If you think you can survive losing your house and you are placing a bet on your house and you're building something, great, good on you. But if you think you wouldn't be able to survive that, do not do it. Again, risk compounds learning and skills. So if you are putting something, you're making a risky decision, you're only going to know how not to make mistakes and learn from it. So you're only going to open up avenues for learning. The only thing that can stop you from evolving is if you are standing still in an evolving business. So that's a huge risk, according to me. In fact, that would have to be rule number one for me. So you've taken the risk, you've made the business happen, but perseverance is the real superpower. Not every day is going to be the same. Not every year is going to be the same. There are going to be great years, and then there are going to be not so great years. So how do you build perseverance? The ability to just show up despite the fact that it gets boring after a while, to do the same thing over and over and over again, deliver, improvise, rinse and repeat. Those are really boring tasks over 10, 11 years. Sometimes you're like, I can't keep going. I'm hitting a roadblock here? How do you, go past? And that's where perseverance can be a real superpower. You see that some of the people who give up only like a month too early or a few days too early. If they had maybe just held on to that thought or an idea for a couple more weeks, they would have found a solution to it. And rejection from clients always tells you what you need to fix internally. And that's okay. Like, who gets it all done in one go? We're in the creative business where we do 47 versions of, one single frame. And it's exactly what an entrepreneur's journey is. You are at 47, 48, maybe 100th version of where you wanted to be to where you are. And that's the journey. You should be willing to accept that not every day is the same, and it's an evolution and a way of life. And you should be ready to change along with the business and know that there are versions of you as you go along doing the business. No, last but not the least, I want to obviously touch base on gender diversity and entrepreneurship. Now, this is a subject that I feel obviously deserves a lot of respect and recognition around the world for some of the incredible work that people are putting out there to put women on the map, putting gender diversity in terms of LGBTQ and entrepreneurship and everything on the same table. But where I look at it is I've never been given opportunities because I have been a woman. I've never looked for opportunities saying, hey, I'm a female-led business. Can you give me this piece of work? I have been true to myself, my authentic self, which involves, just doing things my way. And everybody has a unique way of doing things. And being authentic is an integral part of being human. I guess you don't try to copy your competitor. You don't try to be someone that you're not. For me, if gender is a part of my identity, I would have made it very clear, saying that I am the first visual effects female-led business woman. But that doesn't come to me naturally because that's not me. And if that does, if that's your cup of tea, and if that's what you strongly believe in your domain, you are the first woman who is wanting to do something innovative. There's no harm in putting that out there, and there's only going to be a lot of a push from society to do things in a larger and better and louder way. I'd obviously say, what are your roots? You always find what your root, what is your root? Like, what are you doing this for? Why do you do what you do? Find your purpose. And that's going to help solve the problem of, not knowing where you stand, not being grounded in reality. And if you feel that you don't have a place within your industry, you always find a purpose. For me, that purpose is doing great work in the creative sector, enjoying what I do, giving people employment, being a leader and helping people improve themselves, building bridges and connections along the way, and building my brand. And this is my purpose, and you have to find out what yours is. And on hard days of being an entrepreneur, the why holds it all together. So when you know that you are falling apart, you can always ask yourself, why am I doing this? And that will make it very, very clear to you as to why you are doing all of this in the first place, and help you persevere through whatever hardships that you might be facing. I think I covered most of this, but I will repeat myself. So master your craft, which is be a subject matter expert. Start small, do not start big. I started really small. I started with just 2 people. Befriend your disruptive tech, learn your tools before you employ someone to use them. Network is your asset. So make sure you network as much as you can. Have very, very good financial planning, and be extremely decent and authentic, which is the very, very key aspect of it. Is every industry is really small, and the reputation is the only one that appreciates. So stay true to yourself forever. And I think I've rambled on for far too long. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to take questions and answer them.
Thank you, Ms. Priyanka, for the amazing story and the experience you shared with us. Um, uh, if there are any questions from the audience, I'm sure there are. Please feel free to unmute yourself and probably turn on your video as well and go ahead with your question. We would love to hear your questions directed towards Ms. Priyanka.
Yes, just give me a second, sorry. Apologies. So I'm back again. It was the deliveries. Yes, so what was I saying? Yes, any questions for me?
Yeah, maybe while the audience is preparing their question, yeah, one thing I noticed is that so while you were sharing your journey, one thing I noticed is that you've been a runner in the beginning, like you've been like you have started at the lowest in the industry and then slowly made the connections and learned the things so that at some point you could do things on your own, right? So one thing I'm noticing, at least as a lecturer in my own field in computer science, there is a hesitation for like the young people among young people to start at the bottom. They have some expectation as a fresh graduate, and there's a hesitation to do the boring stuff in the first few years of their career before they are fully ready to do something big. But what do you think about this? The hesitation to start at the bottom.
So, I mean, maybe it's a generational issue as well. I completely understand what you mean by people hesitating to start at the very bottom. But if people can look at it in a very, very different light, I think they would see that it opens up your avenues of far more wider to start at the very bottom. The reason being that you at the very bottom you are forced to work hard, and nobody can teach you to work hard at a higher position if you start at really high, and you would only learn it the hard way as to how to approach real life problems if you start at the very bottom. And if you work really hard in your formative years, it doesn't have to be forever. I mean, if you're starting really at the lower end, it doesn't have to be even for 2 years. It can just be for a year that you really work your ass off and you really prove to yourself and you're sure that you want to do what you want to do. And being smart comes eventually from that. And if you start at a level higher than what you are able to take on, I feel like you don't have the grounding necessary when life throws curveballs at you to catch that. And it's a very important skill. Like life grounds everybody at certain points in their life, and not everybody's journey is smooth always. And if you don't have the grounding aspect of it, which is very essential for me, is I know where I come from, I know my roots, I know where I've struggled, and it gives me immense perspective when I look at employing someone at that level, because I know what it takes to be that person, and I know how to treat that person because I've been that myself. But these are very important aspects that students would have to look at, rather than looking at it from a, oh, I'm getting paid this much, I'm not getting paid this much at this position. So it all depends on how you look at it. There's always a goodness associated with starting really at the bottom. If you're getting a good position on top, go for it, but are you ready for it is the question you need to genuinely ask yourself. Am I grounded enough to take on this position? Because Your CV might say things, but do you have the necessary skills to do that? So that would be my take on it. Is it helps you in the long run to look at people very, very differently and treat them better. It's very important to treat people that we work with better as well.
Yeah, thank you for that. Any questions from the audience? Yeah, okay, Malindra, go ahead.
Hi, Priyanka. Thank you for making the time for us. My name is
Hi.
Malindra, and my question is on budgeting. So, for example, you said you use AI. So, I believe AI is very expensive. So, how do you stick to a budget for AI and at the same time meet your clients' expectations? Thank you.
So budgeting obviously comes from a lot of trial and error, like especially in the creative industry, because we work with it's an iterative process. It's never, you show an output to a client and they're genuinely happy with what they see. They're like, "Can you show us 10 more versions of this, please?" This is the usual way that it works. So when we are budgeting for something like that, we are always thinking of human effort, plus any AI assisted work that we will be doing, the amount of hardware, software usage that would entail human effort, as well as GPUs if we need to use GPU rendering as well. So all of these costs put together would give us a perspective on how much realistically this would cost, and is this more expensive than traditional approach, or is it going to be less expensive? And you present that both the variables to the client and let them decide for themselves. And you say early on, if you're working with AI, that look, I will give you X number of revisions, but after that, it's not going to be possible for me to make any changes, because it can be a very, very iterative process, and each iteration costs you a lot of money. As long as you're transparent with your client about pricing and why you're charging what you're charging, and how much it would take to make any changes to your deliverables, you set that early on before you sign contracts, and make that a transparent process. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, that is something I also was thinking. Sometimes, whether you need a human doing the work or whether you offload that to an AI depends on how much money you are willing to pay, I guess, right? In some cases, AI is too expensive than just simply hiring someone who can do the same job, I guess, right?
Yeah,
So
it's
that
mostly
thing.
the AI usage comes into play only when we talk about timelines. It doesn't come into play when we're talking about how expensive it gets. It mostly comes in only as an afterthought, saying that, oh yeah, we're using AI that should make things cheaper. But ideally, clients prefer using it when they want, like, let's say we're doing a storyboard or a pre-visualization of a sequence, and they might be like, okay, can you just show me what this different camera angles from which we can shoot? We want to see what it looks like before we should go on set and shoot this. So can you make an AI previs out of it? So those are instances where they want a quick output. We work with the script, and then we can see how that would pan out in AI. And we show that to the DOP and the director, and they look at it and go, oh, I didn't think that we could use this camera angle. Oh, I didn't know I could shoot like an aerial shot of this. I didn't know that this lighting would actually make it look better. So you're giving them creative options to choose what they want to go with on the day of shoot on set. So these are the decisions that they need to make, more than, let's say, cost. It is more to do with options and timelines.
Mm. Okay, any more questions from the audience?
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Dr. Asanka, yeah, thank you. Priyanka, you've talked a lot about the film industry. I presume there are other applications as well for visual effects, like, say, television advertising and maybe some others. So that was one question. And the other question was, these tools that you use, which are professional grade, are the licenses expensive? Two
So
questions.
for the first question, absolutely, the visual effects can be used across multiple domains. It can be used across even online digital content, social media, marketing. You can use it for installation work, where you're working with like museums, and big projections where they're doing all of these projections as a part of a theme park, or there's a lot of use cases where visual effects can be used. You can use this on projection buildings where you have certain events that use projections on a large scale, and you have museums, you'll have theme park rides that use visual effects as well. When you're going in a ride and you have
I think Ms. Priyanka got disconnected. I hope she will connect again. Yeah, I think she dropped from the network. But it was amazing, actually, the conversation. I know we are kind of running out of time a little bit, but let's wait for Priyanka to join back so that we can conclude our discussion. Well, while she's joining back, actually, Mr. Paramjit, something I saw from several very successful people, and I heard that from Miss Priyanka as well today, is that, this advice of, go talk to people, and you never know when
Yeah.
somebody will be, bring you the opportunities, that your dream opportunity. That I think that seems to be coming up as a like very common experience for a lot of successful people. Like, whenever you go somewhere and meet someone, take them seriously, because you never know whether, they can be your next, opportunity.
Yeah. It just make it a very enjoyable process and very sincere and authentic. It's like how we met. I came to Sri Lanka to play badminton in a tournament, and just out of curiosity, I was interested genuinely what you guys are doing. And we got talking, and then one thing leads to another. And if that's just part of
Yeah.
your life, like actually what Priyanka said, it's about giving as well as taking. We're all cooperating, and business is business, life is life. We can't exist on our own in isolation. So it's a mutual handshake wherever we can. And even if we, give, but we don't get anything back in return, that's okay, if it helps other people. So, yeah. Yeah. Do
Yeah,
you,
true.
is there any audio-visual kind of studies at the university?
Yes, yes. Actually, okay, Priyanka is back as well. Yeah, so we have students doing, this AR, VR kind of stuff as well,
Yeah.
and across different faculties. Uh, yeah, but Priyanka, something I was saying while you were
Yeah, AR,
away
VR,
was that
absolutely. AR and VR are absolutely the right use cases, game engines, real-time rendering with virtual production. So these are very, very broad use cases of visual effects workflows. Animation as well is one of the other domains that is very, very closely related to visual effects. So yeah, there's the potential is limitless, I would say. As far as imageries and videos exist, the need for VFX will thrive. And the second question about expense,
Cost.
yes, cost of, obviously the traditional visual effects tools cost a lot of money, and which is why it makes it very difficult for artists to start their own companies, because it is an expensive process. If infrastructure wise, very expensive, capital heavy, and operationally heavy as well, because you need to pay for your employees, as well as the render time. I mean, the render obviously needs to happen on a render farm, and that costs you money as well. So all of this is an capital investment that you need to make sure you think about when you are starting your own studio. But AI obviously breaks all of that down to say that, oh, you can make it in a fraction of the cost, and you need a GPU rendering server somewhere across the ocean. But again, how much of that is actually clean energy? I mean, those are debatable points. We can come to when we talk about GPUs, render units that are stationed. What I hear is the carbon footprint of running all of these massive AI models is huge. And people will start realizing that sooner or later. But that's the economic and environment risk that we are taking while we're working on such huge scales.
Yeah. I know we are kind of pressured in time, but is there any other questions from the audience? I would like to give one more opportunity for someone. Is there any other questions? Seems no, I guess.
Sana is muting herself. Or is it him or him?
Yeah. Anyone going ahead with the question? Seems
If
no,
not,
right? Okay.
If not, can I squeeze one more in quickly?
Yes, go ahead.
How long does it take, Priyanka, for, say, a university graduate to really become expert, competent in to a level where they can offer professional services? 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? In say, film industry, really, really high end. What's the learning curve, time frame?
I think it's not that linear. I mean, if the film industry is very forgiving in terms of the number of years of experience, or the number of years of career knowledge that you have, or the number of university degrees that you have. It's very it's based on how good you are. It's
average.
Average 5 years, I'd say, minimum 5 years.
Yeah.
Minimum 5 years.
Yeah.
But you have people who are really young making it really big in the industry. So it's hard to say who will make it or break it, because you have extremely experienced people still stuck as a cog in the wheel, but you also have these really young people starting their own studio after a few years of experience, and they're like, I'm brimming with ideas, I'm brimming with creativity, I just want to serve my clients, and both seem to work as long as people are very good at what they do. I think that the work speaks for itself in a creative industry. It's not the number of years. Sometimes the number of years helps in creating good work, but there are people who are exceptionally brilliant sometimes, and that's fine too.
Thank you.
So it turns out the talent probably is much more dominant than the years of experience in an industry like this.
Yeah, talent. It's all talent. Talent speaks for itself. Like I said, you're only as good as your last project. So if you, even if you have done 10 great films and one not so great one, you'll be only remembered for that one not so great one. So it works both ways.
All right, I guess that's Mr. Paramjit, do you want to go ahead squeezing another question? No, I guess.
No, I'm okay. I think I've asked enough. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
It was a
Thank you.
pleasure being
Thank you
part
so much.
I hope
Go
everybody
ahead,
got
go
something
ahead.
out of it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing about what comes out of your incubator cell and learning more about what, what they're up to and how they're managing to start their own creative startup. And I can't wait to hear more about it.
Thank you so much for the inspiration you shared with us. And I'm pretty sure that some of our audience might contact you. Probably, who knows, your next partners in business can be from Colombo.
Great.
I really wish to see. So thank
Why
you so
not?
much. And,
Thank
yeah, yeah, and yeah, looking forward to working with you. Who knows? At some point, certain I don't know, some startups coming up from Colombo might need to work with you, and I hope you will be happy to work with them and share
Yeah,
your support.
I have very, very close friends who are Sri Lankan, so coming to Colombo would actually mean a lot to me. So I look forward to that opportunity whenever that time comes and whenever the time is right.
Perfect. All right, thank you so much, Miss Priyanka, and thank you so much, our audience, for staying with us, listening to her story and the entrepreneurship journey. And yeah, with that, we'll wind up this session. And thank you all for being with us. And let's meet again next time.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Dr. Sankar.
All the best.
Bye.
Thank you, Priyanka.
Thank you so much, Paramjeet.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.